Hello and welcome back to New Paradigm Healing. This series focuses on Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy, and our intention is to educate, inform, and support the conscious and responsible use of ayahuasca in a Western context. My name is Jessica Gooden.
And my name is Nina Izel.
In this episode, we'll be chatting with Zoe, our very, very special guest, and she'll be sharing some of her experiences as Nina's client, moving through the Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy framework. If you want to know more about Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy, sign up for our mailing list to be the first to know about Nina's new book launch, new episodes, and our upcoming trainings at avatarhealingarts.com. And help us spread our message by following us and sharing our episodes with your friends. Join our tribe on Facebook called Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy.
Thank you, Jessica. That's awesome. I'm so excited, today to have a guest and my special friend and sister, Zoe, here with us. So let me introduce her just a little bit because she is a true pioneer and the warrior. She was one of the first one, actually, like in the first wave of people who I ever worked with using, this framework and this particular process. And I still feel very honored that we became close friends and we still in each other's lives. So it's interesting from the perspective of the medicine, having these years of perspective, looking at somebody's journey, when you get to know somebody on a deeper level. And obviously her journey is individual to her, but at the same time, as we talked about many times, it's all the same journey. So I feel that she has a lot of valuable gems to share that can really help and support other people or answer their question. And it's always kind of good to share a little bit about our experience through conversation. So I'm excited, to have her here today. Welcome, Zoe. And how are you feeling? Do you want to say anything, just to start with, anything you want to share about yourself or anything that you feel called to say right now?
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. I've had some resistance around actually talking about my experiences. And so I'm very happy to be here today. It's taken me about 3 tries. So here we are.
Yeah, that's another... Even this podcast itself is a breakthrough in so many ways, for all of us. So thank you for your courage, sister. And thank you for being here. What I want to start with is we shared a little bit about yesterday, what we're going to talk about, or what is that, the main takeaways from your journey. And one of the main themes that was coming up multiple times was this theme of coming from separation, from a state of fragmentation back into a state of connectedness, and how you experience this on many levels in your life, throughout this journey. So can you share a little bit about that? What does that mean to you? And how did you feel, at the beginning? And what was your motivation to start this journey to begin with? And then how did this shift and transform? And where are you now in terms of where you begin from?
Let's see, to start at the beginning was, I always felt like I was living my life from the outside, watching it. I was not fully participating in my life. And I wanted to be able to participate in my life. Wow, I feel a little emotional.
Thank you.
It's okay. Take all the time you need.
Thank you. But and I wanted to be able to participate in my life. So that's, I think, subconsciously what the catalyst was for bringing me to you and finding this journey. You say I've experienced in a lot of ways. I guess the first one that comes to me is that I had a physical wound in my leg from a very young age. I was shot with a gun, and my entire leg from about mid-thigh down to my toes was pretty numb and dead for literally 25 years.
Your right leg, right?
My right leg. And metaphorically, I never really realized until I went on this journey of plant medicine and the ayahuasca that it was a huge physical manifestation for me to actually be able to visually see and get in touch with the feelings about what was actually numb and dead in me.
Right.
And I don't know now, for lack of a better way to say it, I think it's pretty cool. And for some years it was like, wow, this is such a burden. It's a burden. It was actually disconnected. Like I didn't have any sensation that this right leg is part of my physical body. Right. It was completely disconnected. And so as I gained more and more feelings in it, I associate it totally with the traumatic healing of what happened and I suppressed. through that too, I think more than anything, I found courage to feel my feelings.
Right. So literally what happened is that the physical sensation started to return into your body as you were processing and healing that trauma and that emotional trauma, especially, with the emotions and the feelings that were kind of not as expressed and was held there. And as you started to process that, like the feeling returned physically, the sensation into your leg, right? That's what you're saying. So just for people, to imagine, the significance of what you are talking about, like, can you give like a percentage of how numb it was and what is the numbness that you're feeling now?
Numbness is, I have to define that a little different because I guess the actual touch wise, my leg was like hard as concrete.
Right.
It was hard and I had no feeling, like dead, like you feel nothing. And then what would happen with as the sensations come back, it's like, when you hit your funny bone, that tingle. And so I would get, as I'm processing emotions, I would get like this, and it would hit me like
almost a nerve pain.
Yes, I would say, like nerve, and it would be like, but it would take my breath away, and I would find breath, and then this would like almost like a little bit of like electrical, and it would wake up, and then it would stop, and it was like integrating in my body as, okay, here's another part of you, literally, here's another part of you.
Return to you.
Yes, that was suppressed, or and that's where I say, so much courage to feel. And that's where I found so much of what was in here was being afraid to feel what I felt.
Right.
That there were only certain feelings that I should be feeling. And if it was something other than that, then,
Right. So a lot of suppressed emotions that you kind of couldn't or didn't want to feel before, you kind of gave yourself permission through this process to feel them and therefore kind of process them and release them and transform them. And this kind of connected you like emotionally with yourself, like physically with your physical body as well. Wow. This is amazing.
And I also want to say that through that too, of the processing, I would have, I have times where I'm like, okay, I got to really get into this and really heal myself. There's a finish line, and let's buckle down and we'll do whatever I need to do, breath work, and let's just get a really deep tissue massage and
get it out there.
I'd come at it that way, and then I'd be like, wow, okay, now I just need a little less, more gentle, more slow, feel, let it heal. I really watched that with my physical of how I would approach healing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to ask you about this actually. This is something that we also mentioned, like your idea about healing before you come to the medicine and this work. What did you think about healing and the medicine and healing in general? And what is your idea now and how did that change? Because I think that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I would say initially or originally that it was a very linear way of healing. This is wrong and this needs to be fixed. So there's a very linear 1 through 5. This is how we heal, and you do it this way. And that there's actually like a finish line, maybe for lack of a better word. That there's
an end goal.
There's an apex that I am now healed. I've done all my work and done everything, and I am healed.
Right.
This is And I have realized that is not at all the journey. There is no finish line. I just rolling through my waves, and then something comes in, and okay, you're familiar. I've seen you before, but it is not, okay, now I'm healed, I'm enlightened, and life is just grand all the time. I really thought that before.
Right.
And that also, if it wasn't that way, I wasn't feeling that way, then I'm healing wrong. Yeah. I'm not doing it right.
Doing something wrong.
I'm doing something wrong.
Because you do not feel great. I mean, this is so important. I'm so happy that you are sharing about this because I think many people think the same way. I certainly did in the past.
Me too.
Right? It's just, so really, can you talk a little bit about how the medicine helped you to, and this particular process, this integration process that you did for a year, a little bit more than a year actually, helped you to get understanding and the tools in order to keep navigating now empowered and on your own through these waves and through these cycles and rhythms, as life unfolds.
Gosh, the first word that comes to me when you say that though is trust, because I really had honestly no idea. I had no idea but it was just a trust in I am being pulled to keep going. So I wouldn't want to say that it was all, wow, fucking life is fantastic. But I know having the support of people, particularly you for me, then you realize you're not crazy. And it really is something you roll through, and you visit the dark places of ourselves. And, we take our flashlight and look around, and it's okay. And then we come back out. And I think certainly in the beginning of my journey, when I think about it, there were many times where I was like, wow, I'm not going to make this. I'm not. I want to die. I don't want to live. This is it.
Right.
This is it.
I don't want to go
Yeah,
on.
I'm not doing life right. And this is, I got, and really thinking that I wouldn't come out of that, and thinking again that with the whole spiritual journey and the medicine and all, that I should be at this level. So then when I wasn't, then I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? Right. And now that doesn't go away. It's still the same, but I'm very familiar with them. And what
do you do different now? How do you approach it in a different way?
Because I recognize that it will change.
Absolutely.
That's really my trust, and what I lean on is the impermanence of life and
Absolutely.
feelings.
It's so true.
The bliss and the shithole, I mean, totally. But really, like, to know that it really is, it all changes.
It all changes.
It all changes. And that's where I was really able to go through more and more, knowing this will change.
This will change. And so really we talked a little bit about that, a lot of fear. That was another characteristic of your journey, just losing a lot of fear and anxiety that you were carrying. And this was this fear of change, and this fear of going to these dark or intense places or looking at certain things. Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about these fears right now?
Yeah. What I think when you say that is, I'm thinking, well, God, I can't remember what my fears were.
Right.
But I know I was terrified.
Right.
But I can't even pinpoint like a particular fear, other than just an overall theme of the fear of actually belonging to something greater than myself, belonging to a tribe and a community. I mean, it was fear of everything that represents.
Right.
I was alone. I'm alone out here. I'm separated.
Yeah.
I'm separated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was the overall fear.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Jessica, I want to give you a little moment, because we just keep rolling, we know each other for so long, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions, a lot of things, that are coming up for you, sister. So let's share.
Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying watching you two, because you both are in the same space, and I'm just like, I want to be there. I feel like a fly on the wall, which is great because I'm really enjoying it. And your enthusiasm and feeling your all's friendship and connection is so tangible through this space. I feel like I'm there. Zoe, thank you so much for being here and your willingness to share about your experiences. It sounds like such a miraculous healing for you. And like you were saying, it's not in the sense of, oh my God, I'm healed, I'm enlightened, blah, blah, blah. But you have all these tools now and a new awareness and a knowledge that you can be like a part of the world and connected because you feel connected to yourselves. Am I hearing that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. I'm not if that yes picked up, but Zoe nodded for me on video. I wanted to talk about your integration process and how long your integration process took and what your experience was of using the map to help you navigate and what that whole experience was like for you, especially since you were a trailblazer and working with Nina. Tell me everything, please.
Great question. Thank you, Jessica. And also I want to just add another question of, you started your journey with the ayahuasca this particular way, using this framework. And then after you met a lot of people in different ceremonies who never did it this way. And how was that interesting for you? So, yeah.
Let's see, I think it was about 18 months the first time. And I know that your traditional model is, I think, 12 months. How was it? Yeah, I'm trying to rewind here with the first. I would not have known any kind of forward thinking as to what to expect, because I didn't come in with like, I have X disease or I have this and this I want to heal and this is very concrete. Mine was all emotional, and this, like the physical, was not even what I came to heal with you. Yeah, I think that, I know as I think back to the different therapies, those were all new to me too. You know, I've had massages and Reiki in my life, but your type of work was very, I think the beginning of being able to feel safe with you was where everything started, without feeling safe. And I found that the therapies were very, very, very a safe container for my, you know, yes, my mental, but also like I could literally feel my physical and emotional body be like, okay, you're safe to carry on. Yeah. And then we did monthly in 2 weeks, and we even did it remotely. Yeah. I mean, I was here for 3 months, I think, and where it was in person. And fortunately for my healing journey, you know, if the schedule was once a week, I, you know, check in with Nina on my process, and it's like 48 hours, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna die. We were able to do at that moment.
And then she comes over, and like 3 hours later, oh my God, I'm so excited. I just loving life. You know?
Because I'd like to say that, like, we put it on a calendar, and this is just the progress of your journey, and your integration is at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. We do.
But it's not like that.
But it's not like that. Or it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And coming from the Western world of calendars and times and tell me what to expect in the time frame in which this will be delivered is not at all how my journey went.
Right. And it's like a 24/7 experience.
Yeah. And then even being like, I don't know, I think so many times, you know, I would be like, I'm in a space of, oh my God. And then literally an hour passes, and so does the feeling. The feeling changes. And that is a lot too. I think we're learning to navigate and manage my own feelings and emotional and nervous system with the support of you. But also it's a little bit of the, you know, hey, like you can do this and manage your emotional body and your nervous system. Yeah.
And I think that, you know, a lot of people who go through this type of integration, they can relate to this emotional purification and integration process. But I want to ask you about, you know, the mental part of it, because a couple of years, I think 4 years, right? That you started 4 years that we know each other. And I remember your way of thinking in general, and that just changed like so enormously. We talked about how you are a different person, kind of meaning you have a different way of looking at the world, and kind of your values and changed quite a bit as well. And how was that experience for you? And, you know, you mentioned this GPS metaphor. I think that was so cool.
Yeah. You know, I believe the largest belief that I had that shifted is that there is always a right way and a wrong way to do life with everything. There's a right way and a wrong way. And when something was not in that sent me very off center and not feeling connected. And one of the biggest gifts is that there are so many ways to do life, and there's not a right and a wrong way, and everyone's different. And that opened up a whole world of opportunities and meeting people that have completely different backgrounds and beliefs, and just the world opened for me with that.
This expansion of awareness, and also seeing yourself in a different way, and your relationships, even in your close environment, like your family, I remember changed hugely, you know, in a very positive way, right?
Yeah. And particularly, it was with every member of my family, but certainly at a different time.
Right.
Yeah, and I think with the family, you know, there can be so many deep wounded, at least for me, triggers of what's wrong with me because of my family. And through this journey of allowing myself to feel the things about, you know, that I may encounter with my family, it may not be positive, is where it's been healed. And I've just allowed or been able to see now that let people be who they are. You know, there's not a right way for my mom to be. There's not a, you know, right way for my daughter to be. Let people be who they are and love them. And I see healing in them when it's the same for myself.
So it's like acceptance and love and compassion. towards others, but also starting with yourself. As you said, that it started with yourself, this journey, you looking at yourself and your less desirable parts as well, and you embracing and loving and accepting yourself. And that created this effect in your life of looking at other people the same way, and therefore they look at you in a different way, and the relationship changes. That's
the world my world just gets bigger and bigger with more people that come into my life and that I meet, and different opportunities. It expanded my world, literally.
I have a question. You guys mentioned the GPS metaphor, and I'm like, where's the GPS metaphor?
Yes, metaphor. And I started the beginning, I would say, like, in the past, I was always very much, I knew where everything was. I had calendars. I had a really strong mental acuity for keeping track of tasks in my head and times and dates. And I don't really know what you'd call that, but I was just very, like, I remembered and knew always. And then, I don't know.
And also had a very good sense of physical direction and navigating
totally physical,
and driving.
Yes, driving a car. I could say, oh, yes, it's left here, having never been there before. North is behind us, east. It was very just innately in me. So I would say it was like, I don't know, maybe the second ceremony, but it was, I'd been into it for a couple of years. And I would just like forget, like, I'd be like, okay, I've been on the street 10 times. I live here. Why am I questioning which way the beach is? Which way's the beach? Is it left or right? And it was very much a strange feeling for me. Like, I was like, wow, okay, I don't know what that is. And this, I had no sense of direction. I would get in a car and something that I just always knew. And it's not like I was in a brand new place. I would be in some place I'd been and I'd be like, I just don't really know what to do here. I don't know what to do. I wonder if that's behind, very basic, musings like that. Like my GI, I just didn't have a sense of any direction. And this went on for, I don't know, about eight months, where I got a little concerned, thinking, well, maybe something was really wrong with me. Because
with your brain. With
my brain. So,
Yeah.
And then I can be one, where I'll be thinking, oh God, I did the medicine and it ruined my brain. Oh shit. Right. Yeah. And then I would say it was about 2 months ago, I was like, wow, I know what this is. It's like a complete deconstruction of, and I don't really know the nomenclature here, but like the deconstruction of my identity. Yeah. But again, when things manifest for me in a physical thing, in a physical realm, then it really makes me go, wow, man, we really are connected. This isn't all in my head. Yeah. This really is. Yeah. Connectedness. And it really had this, I was actually doing a meditation, and I had this beautiful vision that it's like a deconstruct and like plowing the land and sowing it and making room, and it's very barren, and then the seedlings start to grow because room was made for it. And then now, literally, like I can feel my sense of direction like really coming back. So there was a place where I was really like, wow, I don't know. And it was I think the manifestation of, I don't know who I am.
Exactly.
I no longer know who I am.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Or more like, I would verbalize it in a way that the person who I thought I was, it's no more. So who I am now, that is when you are like in that no direction of, okay, so I am not who I thought I was. Right. So who I am now. And
here's recalibrating.
And then suddenly, it starts to emerge as you purify and as you take away all these layers of who you are not. Yeah, it emerges, the more authentic self. And that's what you're talking about, that you start to feel this centering in that deeper or higher self, whatever you want to call it. And as a symbol or a metaphor for that, your sense of physical direction as well is start coming back as your sense of, it's a different type of identity, right? We have an identity, we identify ourselves, but it's definitely much different how you thought about yourself.
Well, yeah, I think it's more like now I'm creating myself, whereas before I was created by my family and my belief systems. And it's like, now it's like I'm creating my life. And
awesome.
Again, for lack of a better word, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's really cool. Yeah.
Very liberating.
Yeah.
and empowering.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the spiritual aspect a little bit. And if you just would share, if you feel like, did you have any spirituality in your life, before kind of you come to the medicine? And how did the medicine, help you to reconnect with the spiritual aspect and bring this aspect of sacredness into your everyday life?
That's a good question. I was actually raised in a Christian background. So those were the beliefs that I came with. Catholicism, Lutheran, regimented, and, we were born with sin and we ask for forgiveness. And there's a lot of
Sacrifice.
There's a lot of sacrifice and there's a lot of shame for me in my experience with being raised as a Christian. That we're born soiled with sin and we must repent of our sins as we come into the world as a newborn baby.
Right.
I mean, what a shitty way to come into the world.
Right.
God, you're soiled with sin and you must go on this path of...
Yeah, pretty depressing.
Yeah, right. So I think that foundation that I did, I think I struggled with in the beginning, and that's just the indoctrination of that you're wrong but that was actually the catalyst, I think, because I had that background.
Right.
The catalyst for me to know, that it's not I shun Christianity, but that there was an expansion of what that God meant to me, and that, God is inside myself. It's not outside. And there were some things I had to really let go of with that. But again, it was the door opening for me to have some kind of, at least a spiritual practice. And a spiritual practice of meditation and quiet and solitude, reverence. And then, I think it just has kind of, gone into so many different of the spiritual practices, which whether it be yoga and supportive type, ecstatic dance, breath work, so many of those practices becomes just, for me, like I've developed in the morning is my spirit time. And that just evolved, I think.
Like your little ritual when you connect with yourself and be quiet and connect, just center, at the
some
beginning
people
of your
call
day.
it sadhana, and there's many names for it, but it's spirit time for me.
Right.
And
part of your day.
Part of my day. There are times when, and early on in the healing journey, that I was very regimented, do a mantra for 5 minutes, meditation for 20, left and right brain, balancing, and then drink the coconut water and maybe drink. I was very boom, 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 and I get on those rolls, and that's the way it should be. Again, because there's a right way to heal, and there is a finish line to where I will be enlightened. So this is the way.
Now you're more relaxed.
And now,
oh my God, I feel like all the type A people are like, can I have that list, please, so I can check it off every morning.
For all the OCDs out there, email us for the list.
And now, for the most part, my spirit time, if you were to ask me, well, what did your spirit time include this morning, Zoe? I'd be like, well, today I breathed. Really? Wow. Yeah, for 90 minutes, I just breathed from my diaphragm, from my belly.
Really conscious breathing and just being present with your breath.
But it can be, and that's so, and that's it. The space of actually really being present with where I am.
Exactly.
In my
life. That's what your practice is, being present with whatever you're doing or whatever.
But again, there was a time when, what is that going to do? That's not good enough. There needs to be many other things on the list to get your healing down,
or some kind of activity that I have to do.
Yes. So to go from doing to being, that's a major transformation for me.
Thank you.
Oh my God, Zoe, this has been so much fun. You are like, I'm like, can I be your new best friend? When can we arrange this new relationship that we've...
Well, maybe one day you come to our training.
Oh man, I would love that so much.
Yeah, well, she's already half pro, She would just need a little confidence,
Yeah, your experience sounds like... You sound like a master healer already. You got it, lady.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Healing comes from experiencing it. That was another thing we really went through, was that you have to experience to heal it. I can't just read the books and they have to have the experience. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we totally align with that. I think that's why we included that you have to go through the year-long process in order to be able to facilitate other people going through that. So
experience, right? I can't learn it all in a book.
No, and that embodied learning is really the way that it gets ingrained, and then you do it again, and then you do it again. And sometimes you might do the same process thousands of times before it's like, oh my God, I could do this a different way. So just as a final wrap up, what would you say are your key takeaways
from my journey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say the knowing that everything changes, the impermanence of things in life and people and relationships. Very much it's a soft place for me to land when I think of, wow, everything changes. It can be a little bit of a cocoon when I'm going through a hard time to know, wow, okay, everything changes. I'm in my cocoon and it will change, which I guess is transformation. Yeah, and then even as we go, like I said, the waves of bliss and ecstasy, and that too will change. So it becomes, somewhat of detaching from the certainty of things, which then would bring me to the next part of it. My next takeaway would be trust. And wow, trusting in the unknown for me initially, I would say, but really just the unknown of knowing that inside of me something was new, greater, and higher, that this is the keep going, without knowing specifically what I was trusting in. So
trusting yourself.
Trusting myself without even being able to put that label on it, that I was trusting myself, but just knowing that,
this is going to be good for you in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the trust, and I would definitely point that out for me as well, coming from a place of fear into a place of trust and anchoring it there. I think that is major. Thank you, Zoe, so much for coming and sharing with us today.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
We're going to close for today. And Jessica, I give you the space, to close our episode.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much, Zoe. We're coming to the end of our time for today, so help us grow our tribe by sharing our episodes on your platforms. It's the best compliment you can give us. Follow our accounts on your favorite podcast listening platforms to receive notifications about our upcoming episodes. If you haven't already, sign up for our mailing list to stay up to date about our projects and trainings at avatarhealingarts.com and modernsacredlife.com. And remember, you are the healer and love is the medicine. Love to you all.
So much love.